The problem you face as a good parent is decision fatigue. So many decisions to make as a parent, which kind of resembles a tug of war between the decisions you make for you and the decisions you make for them. Let's dissect this predicament you're in. You're a good parent. You love your kids. You'd do anything for them. It's why you clicked on this video. That tells me you're willing to do the research, make the discoveries that help you become an even better parent. If you're a mom like me, you especially feel the burden of making a home, nurturing the emotional and mental wellness of your child, and keeping them safe from harm. And in all that, maybe you're remembering the importance of looking out for yourself too. Did I nail it? In a big way, you know that in order to raise your kids to be the best version of themselves, you have to be the best version of yourself. Some people call it reparenting, the process of healing your own childhood wounds so that you don't inadvertently wound your child. And we try our best to do that, the inner and outer work to break the cycle. The thing is, you're not the only one influencing your child. Teachers, friends, classmates, family, other parents, media, TV, all factor into their overall impression of life. So the decisions you make on a daily basis to connect and assess what your child needs from you as their safe space, their parent, to help mitigate the negative influences surrounding them tend to carry a lot more weight, right? Add to that the decisions you make for yourself to connect to what you want, to connect to your safe place. And if your bandwidth for your child is limited because you have very busy days doing anything and everything else, then your connection to your kids starts slipping away. So when it comes to the decisions you make on their behalf, you're either clear headed or you're not. You're either present or you're distracted. You're either energized or you're exhausted. And the same goes for the decisions you make on your behalf. Over time, you can see how your state of being makes a difference. So it's crucial that we find ways to maintain the clarity and the energy to be good parents for them and for us. How do we do that? That's where the rest of this video comes in. What do we know about our kids? That they need to feel safe to fully come alive, don't we all? And you are their safe space. And the more time they have in this safe space, the more positive their upbringing. But you're busy. You've got a life, a career, personal ambitions, goals. So it means you're carrying more, working more, juggling more. Some days it feels impossible because some days it kind of is. You love your kids deeply and you love your work deeply. You want to be present for their childhood. And at the same time, you want to build something impactful and purposeful. You want to give them everything. You also want to give yourself a little something. This tension is not a flaw in your parenting style. It's the reality of being a whole person who also happens to be a parent. Inevitably, we try to fit it all in to the point of burnout. And burnout is a result of not having a balance between doing and non doing, action and rest. Good parents need distance from the day to day grind in order to think, plan, and be present with what is, to ground and center in on priorities and values and truth. And if we don't carve out that time to create that vantage point of observation, then life gets hectic. And our kids get the backlash of our hectic lives. When we're always rushing, always distracted, always hold on, our kids feel like they're competing with our phones, our TVs, our computers. They feel like they're the interruptions. They start to believe that love comes with conditions. Be good, be quiet, be convenient. And I know that's not what you want for them. You love them. But love without presence feels conditional to a child. They start to take it personal. What does it mean to be a good parent? I know you have big dreams for you and your family. And yes, they get to all come true. They may not all come true at once. Consider the season you're in, the time you have, and the priorities that come before all else. Now, let's say you're also building a career or building a business and you're a mom. Then you might struggle with scheduling yourself as both career woman and mother, in addition to all the other things you have on your plate. Still, your goal of bringing in the kind of money that gives your kids access to the things you wish you had growing up that make life so much easier keeps you going. You're not giving up, and you don't have to. In fact, I applaud you for doing something that lights you up because that actually makes you a better mother. Yet, somewhere in between business calls and meal times, between pursuing your passions and being present for theirs, You started moving really, really fast. And what if I told you the things that you're trying to do faster are actually the things you need to do slower? Hi, I'm Yvette, the Declutterist, your less is more coach and business mentor. And today let's talk about the most important decision you get to make as a parent. Okay, so we know we have a lot of decisions to make as a parent, nonstop decisions to make as a parent. And the worst part about it is knowing that no matter how hard we try to be perfect at raising our kids, so they have what they need to be happy, healthy, fulfilling their dreams, we can still get it wrong. All the more reason that we can't abandon the decisions that fortify our parental instincts. We can't abandon our self care because in any moment, we've got to trust that we're doing what's best for everyone involved, or else we only have ourselves to blame. Then you can imagine that if we do all of our self care in hiding, sneaking away to breathe, doing yoga before the kids wake up, waiting until they're asleep before we feed our souls with our creative pursuits, then we aren't only putting ourselves last, we aren't modeling to them that taking care of yourself is important to incorporate into daily human life. We're showing them that grown-ups don't get to have needs, that mothers don't get to be anything other than mother. But what if we can teach them something different? What would that look like? Maybe it looks like them learning to center and calm because you do your mindfulness meditation with them at your side. Let's see what it feels like to sit in silence together until the timer goes off. Maybe it looks like you saying yes to building a fort instead of not today. Maybe it looks like you demonstrating what to do with uncomfortable feelings. Feeling overwhelmed? Name it. I'm feeling really anxious right now. I'm going to take some deep breaths. Want to do it with me? Maybe it looks like you working deeply on your craft while they do the same. Mommy's working on something that makes her feel excited and creative. What can you work on that makes you feel creative? Yet another decision to make to bring about the change you wish to see. And the most important decision to make, the one underneath all this, the most important decision to make as a parent is to slow down. Don't kids demand that from us? From the day they're born, we must slow down to get in tune with what they're asking for so that we can provide it. It's a symbiotic relationship that never ends. It's only when we stop checking in with our kids, with ourselves, with our co parent, with what the situation calls for, that the problems begin. And that's usually because we've gotten too busy to make the decisions that require more thought than we've got the bandwidth to give. We're too busy to slow down. But that's what good parents need, to slow down so we can teach our kids to do the same. How to slow down? An exercise. So let's do a little exercise to help you slow down. This is a process you can refer to every time it feels like things are getting a little out of control at home. Answer these questions in order. 1. What are my top 3 priorities? 2. What am I spending my time doing? 3. Is my schedule reflective of me living in alignment with my priorities majority of the time? 4. What can I eliminate from my day, my purview, and my decision making to better align with how I want to truly live right now, given the resources I currently have at my disposal? When you answer these questions with sincere honesty, you'll quickly see what's standing in your way. And then you have another decision to make: how to remove it. I encourage you both, you and your partner, or whoever you share guardianship with, to do this exercise and come together to discuss your answers. If one of your shared priorities is the kids, then you should be able to get on the same page with how to best spend your time and what deserves your attention. Again, in this season, both parties, both of you, need to consider what is stealing time away from your priority as a parent so you can adjust in order to give parenting the due diligence it needs. Fortunately and unfortunately, checking in like this, getting on the same page, is yet another decision to make and time to carve out more often than you think. Is that worth fitting into your schedule? What comes after you slow down? It's tough to know how to be both a good parent and pursue your own passions without compromising your priorities, without having the right tools. Not your fault, just no one's teaching this stuff until now. That's why slowing down is crucial and urgent for anyone doing both. Here's what happens when you slow down: your child stops competing for your attention because they know they have it. They stop acting out as much because they're filled with your selfless availability. They start to learn emotional regulation because you're regulated enough to teach it. And you start to enjoy parenthood again. You remember why you wanted to be mom or dad in the first place. You stop feeling like you're failing because you're succeeding. And you can tell when they look at you. That means career and business grow at the pace it's meant to grow. And your other interests fit in where they fit in. But childhood happens now. Do you know how to slow down enough to lighten your mental load, streamline your workflow, and make time to connect and play and bond with your kids on a regular basis? What I've noticed in my home visits with my clients is that a messy house is a sign that things are moving too fast for any parent to keep up. The stuff coming in is not on par with the stuff going out. And so it's all piling up. And one bit of home maintenance left undone starts to stack up, and the honey-do list gets longer and longer and longer. And that's stressful. Where do you even begin? Your home is a reflection of what's going on in your heart and your head. It's a feeling you're creating when you make a home. What's happening as you're trying to juggle it all? Is there financial strain? Is there fighting because of unequal distribution of labor? And are the kids witnessing that? Are they sensing that? Of course they are. And how does that affect their own means of coping and dealing with tension? If you're honest, does your home feel like a place of yes or a place of no? Think about yesterday. How many times did you say, "Not right now, mommy's working. Can you just go play? Stop that, get out of here." Or, "We don't have time for that." I'm not judging these knee jerk reactions. You're just trying to survive. But when they become the dominant soundtrack of childhood and their experience with you, we're teaching our kids that their natural curiosity, their complex feelings, their desire to connect aren't allowed. We're accidentally creating children who shrink themselves to fit our schedule instead of children who know they belong fully and wholly in this world. You say family is your priority, even above the career track you're on, even above the business you're building, or are they equal? There's no right or wrong answer. But if it's all for them, so much so that you would put your aspirations on the back burner for a later date, but then you're resentful for the sacrifice you had to make, which one is it? Don't worry about what else you're missing if family is your priority. A big, expensive house only matters if the people inside love each other. And I know you feel like you're doing everything for them. And yet sometimes your schedule, your stress level, and your outlook on life tell a different story, especially when your pursuits, like running a business, take up most of your physical and mental capacity. No one wants to give up parts of themselves or their fulfillment if they can help it. And no mother I know wants to give up precious time with her kids either. So, how do you do both? Evaluate your priorities. You're trying to do it all. I get it. But what's it costing you? You're trying to go so fast. But what are you leaving behind? Slow down. One decision you can make today that will actually help you be more present with your kids and more proficient in your work. Both. And why? Why make a decision like that when it's so unlike what everyone else is doing? In minimalism, we call it making time for what matters. In business, we call it leverage. In parenting, we call it love. So you've got some decisions to make. At the end of the day, if you want to raise happy, healthy, conscious kids and build something meaningful and impactful while you do, you might have to restructure your hustle. Let me know in the comments what's one way you plan to slow down with your kids this week. Maybe it's putting your phone down during breakfast. Maybe it's saying yes to, "Mommy, can you play with me?" Maybe it's doing the dishes or the yard work together. And if you're ready to create more margin in your life, more presence in your parenting, and more peace in your home, I have some resources to help you in the description box below. Take your pick. And until the next one, peace.